Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Charm City Heavyweights Podcast, brought to you by the good folks at Great 8 Sports Memorabilia in Parkville, Maryland. I am the host, Matt Trigger. With me today, as always, is my co-host, my brother from another, Josh Merrill. What's going on, bud?
What's up, Matt? Coming live from the man cave. And we got to dedicate this episode to Gemma. She turned 1 today. It's her birthday. Happy birthday.
Yes. Happy birthday to my goddaughter, one of 3 goddaughters. My turning the big 1. She's getting active there, buddy.
She sure is.
She is on the move.
She sure is. She'll make you she'll give you a workout, man.
I'm sure she will. That's not a doubt in my mind, being 1-year-old and getting into everything. She's following around her big sister, all that.
Yeah.
So here we are. This is without pro football in the last 8 months. There's no camps. There's no draft. There's no regular season, postseason,
Baseball
or the
time.
Super Bowl. So what was your thoughts, man, on the Super Bowl? It's baseball time, absolutely. Let's before we head into baseball, let's kind of talk Super Bowl real quick. What was your initial thoughts on the game, man?
Look, I was shocked. I didn't think Philly could keep up with. I gotta admit, I was wrong with Kansas City because they did. They were right in there. It was just really Kansas City had the ball last and ran out of time basically and didn't give the Eagles a chance. I thought that was a fair call. The cornerback who made the play thought it was a fair call. He did definitely grab them. I know people were saying it wasn't catchable, but it would have been catchable if he wasn't being grabbed. Juicer's fast off the line now, so it was a bullshit. People saying that is bullshit. The only thing I will agree with is, there was plays like that happening all game. Why do you call it there? That's what frustrates me. If you're going to call that like that, call it all game, but don't let guys do that all night. And then, they settle in playing that way. And then it's a penalty that, that's just not fair. But it was a good game, man. I think Hurst was the MVP. Not a big fan of his, but I think he outplayed Mahomes. He just had the ball last. If Philly would have had some time, it may have been a different outcome. It was a good game. I could give a fuck, if the Ravens ain't in it, I could give 2 fucks about it. But all I asked for is a good game. It was a good game. Personal reasons, I didn't want Philly to win. I'm glad they lost. I made a post about the Eagles not flying no more, and people got upset and really upset. So it's all good, man. I'm glad they lost though. Fuck them.
Yeah, I was happy to see a good Super Bowl. I wasn't necessarily leaning one way or the other. I think I did pick myself. That was a very high scoring Super Bowl. It was very competitive all the way through. I'll just come out and say it. Pat Mahomes is the quarterback in football, and he's probably the best quarterback of this generation of throwers that's going to go down in history. It's incredible to watch him play.
Absolutely, he's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. I like the not to change the subject, but I like the Kelsey brother exchange at the end. I know they came out with a new episode of their podcast post Super Bowl. I want to watch. I probably watch that tomorrow. But the little fuck you, but congratulations. That was cool, man. That's got to be a crazy
Yeah,
thing. That's like every kid's dream, man. Go up against your brother, and he like in the Super Bowl. That's wild.
it really is, and for Jason Kelsey, that might be the last Super Bowl he ever gets to, depending on how the NFC shakes out and how much Trevor plays, because he's a little bit older than Travis, if I'm
Super
not
Bowls
mistaken.
aren't
Travis is
promised,
in
man.
his
Super Bowls aren't promised.
they aren't,
Look at Dan
and
Marino. He went early in his career,
I think this
never
is
even sniffed it again.
no, you're right.
Everything
I
I
totally agree
always
with you,
say
Josh.
to
That's
get to that game, everything has to go your way. Every bounce, every flip of the coin, every single thing has to go your way for you to get there and win. Every questionable call, every play call, games, everything has to go your way.
yeah, that's absolutely true. I'm just happy that it's over and done with. The tenseness of our football season, we are always on edge. The Ravens have been keeping us with high blood pressure for the better part of 3 years now, and now it's time for my nerves to settle down. We have a little bit of a buffer. Um, First things first, we hired a new offensive coordinator. Uh,
Yes, we did.
I was I was a
You're
little
not too happy about it.
skeptical. It's
You're
not
not
that I'm
too
not too
happy about it.
happy. I'm not too happy. I really thought we were going to kind of go outside the box and go younger. And thinking about it in retrospect, after letting it settle in for a day or two, um, this is a hardball move, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. He's taken somebody and given the reins to him that's proven at the position of offensive coordinator. It's You can make an argument that he didn't have a good run with Cleveland, but he got a lot out of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Jameis Winston while he was with the Buccaneers. And I was listening to the radio today, and Jason Lockenfora. I know how we both feel about Jason for the most part, but he made a good point that with Todd's presence as our offensive coordinator, if we have to go out and get a wide receiver or two of the veteran stature, in the hypothetical situation that Lamar is traded, you have cap room to now go offer Tampa Bay a package deal to get Mike Evans or to possibly obtain Chris Godwin, or wait for San Diego, or I'm sorry, the Los Angeles Chargers to release Keenan Allen or anything of that nature. You could have a bona fide veteran wide receiver in here, and I do believe that the wide receiver room is going to look completely different. Other than Duvernay and Bateman, it's going to be a complete turnover. Even though I do want to keep Demarcus Robinson, I
I
do
do
believe it's
too.
going to be a complete turnover.
Even if it's only on the practice squad, you got to keep DeMarcus. That
I
dude, every
really,
3 games, I'm telling you, bro, every 3 games he's on the fucking money. And when he's on, he is on. And I'm talking 10 catches, over 100 yards
yeah,
receiving, 2 touchdowns. When he goes
it's
off, he goes off.
he does, and I will give you that. I'll give you that 100%. There's no doubt in my mind that when he goes off, he goes off.
But the
To
problem
me,
is, after that, he's gone for a minute.
yeah, I think we're going to go with a more reliable set of pass catchers. I know we're going to have some veterans in there. We're not going to rock with the 25 and under crew that we did this year to
If
start the
they
year.
don't build this crew, if they don't build this wideout room up, man, this city is going to, like, Eric DaCosta better hide. He better not go out in public to eat because this city is going to erupt because they are
It's gonna
dying for that
it,
receiver room to look
it's
good.
gonna it's gonna be rough,
And
and
if
they're
this
gonna.
Lamar shit don't end, people are going to start going fucking insane.
I
I'm
I just
tired
want.
of it, man. I don't even
I
care about it anymore.
hope this
I'm
fan
tired of
base
his
is
little
ready for the.
subliminal messages, like holding a bag out in the Ravens gear. You had me excited for a minute, motherfucker. I thought you meant you signed. I took it the other way. But then come to find out, he's all in his decked out Ravens with the bag. Like, all right, it's time to fill the bag up. Like, stop all that crazy shit.
I'm I'm just waiting for that text message or that alert to hit my phone that the Ravens
It's
have
going to
traded
happen.
Lamar
Internet's
Jackson.
going to break.
It's going to break. This city is going to melt down. It's obviously going to be
Oh, God.
divided. It's going to be divided 50-50 amongst the fan base.
Dave from Dundalk's going to fucking flip.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people. It's going to be an absolute, madhouse and with this fan base and
And
the
you're going to have a
franchise.
lot of happy motherfuckers, and you're going to have a lot of pissed off people.
And I'll say this openly. I'll say this proudly. I am a Baltimore Ravens fan before I'm the fan of an individual player. If anybody feels the need that they want to jump ship because Lamar gets traded, that's fine. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
fuck off.
Yeah,
Fuck off.
don't worry. Don't come back when the Ravens have a quick turnaround.
Oh, yeah.
Don't claim that
Anybody,
you
people answer this
never
question.
lost faith in this.
Exactly.
It's going to happen.
When were the Ravens ever rebuilding? When were the Ravens ever rebuilding? Can anyone tell me that besides the
We've
first,
never
few
rebuilded.
years? Exactly. If they're bad, it doesn't last long, and then they're right back in it, right back in the
We've
thick
never
of
had
it.
a rebuild.
Exactly. It's because we don't rebuild. We just keep going. And we may have a year, we're either 8-8 or whatever the schedule is now, where we just miss, or maybe we have a shitty year, but it doesn't last long. We draft well generally. We sign decent free agents generally. We usually get a lot out of our free agent signings. And I know we had some years where we drafted like shit, but the draft in the last few years has gotten better. It looks like Eric nailed last year's draft.
Yeah, basing it off of 1 year, he looks like he knocked out of the park. Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum, they're going to be here for a very long time,
All rookie,
barring
all
anything
rookie team.
unforeseen. Arguably, Hamilton made a case for at least second team All Pro. I know there was a lot of good safety play this year, but he it clicked for him, man. He gets it, and now they're giving him a full off season to train as a pro and be up in Westminster,
and now he's got
or
confidence.
Owings Mills. He's got confidence. He knows that job is his, and Clark's probably going to be in a different uniform next year. So
what's going on with Patrick Queen?
I don't know, man. I think
why is he deleting his Raven stuff? And why do these young players? Why is that a thing? Like when you're mad at your organization, you delete all the
because it
pictures.
gets attention on them. All it takes is for one Ravens fan to go on his page and see that he has nothing Ravens in his bio. All of his pictures are going to the Ravens. Yeah, so that's a quick way to get the attention on him. It's attention-seeking behavior. I'm not even mad at him. You can't be mad at him. There's nothing, to really say about it. He's probably pissed off we're not going to pick up his fifth-year option. They're not going to sink.
It can't be jealousy of Roquan because Roquan changed that man's career and probably is going to get him paid a lot of money by some other team. You can't. A guy at work was saying the other day they're going to sign him. I'm like, bro, you can't sink that much. There's already too much money on the defensive side of the ball. You can't sink that much money into your linebacking core.
They're not going to sink that much money in, and even if they pick up the
fifth-year option,
you're
already $100 million in. He's probably, if he keeps playing like he did last year, he's probably going to get 75-80 million. Shit,
at least. And then you got to think about it. If they pick up his fifth-year option, now you're looking at the prospect of having almost $30 million of 2024's cap tied into the middle linebacker position.
Yeah,
solely.
The decision's already been made, dude. The decision's already been made. They had a choice. Ride with Patrick Queen. Look, he's looking good. Do you just, let him soak up Roquan this year and think he's the guy and plan on extending him? Or, hey, we got Roquan, let's ride with him. They made their decision. If Roquan wasn't re-signed and extended, then that's when, they're probably looking to extend Queen and they believe that he's it and he's going to be it. But obviously they didn't believe that. Obviously, they gave a lot of credit of his good play to Roquan and maybe don't see him at that level without Roquan.
And that could very well be true. That's a high possibility that they're paying the better of the two, which is an obvious choice. But
Yeah,
but Patrick Queen, we saw what he was before the presence of Roquan Smith,
yeah,
and now you're seeing what he is after. The skeptic in me could say this dude is playing like this because he does not have all the attention on him, and he is not the guy. So I'm
yeah.
cool with that. Go get paid, man. Go to a team that needs a middle linebacker and will pay you 18 or 19 million dollars a year, possibly 20. And then we can hopefully by the time that's ready to happen, that kid Josh Ross is going to be ready to play. You
Yeah, I
know,
like Josh Ross in Michigan.
the Michigan kid, or we go find somebody else in the draft. You know, the drafts. We always end up finding a undrafted free agent
They're
linebacker
not. They're
somewhere.
not fifth year. Even fifth year option him is expensive. He gets
It
top money
is.
that fifth year. You
It
can't.
is
It's already too much money in the linebacking core.
for sure.
And don't
Just
forget, and before we move on off of Roquan, I'm at my bad to blindside you
no,
on
you're
this, but
fine.
I got to get something out about Ray Lewis. I love Ray Lewis, and since he retired, he kind of gets on my fucking nerves. He was driving me nuts at the Pro Bowl. Oh yeah, me and Roquan are hanging out. I'm gonna teach him this offseason. Like, bro, he's already good. Like he was just acting like he ain't good until I put my touch on him. Like it really annoyed me. I know it sounds stupid, but it was just irking my fucking soul.
If he
Yeah, me and
can,
Roquan are together this offseason. I'm teaching him like he sucks or something. Like Ray, I
Ro-
think he's got it. He just signed $100 million deal.
I hear you. I'm not as opposed to Ray Lewis kind of molding him a little bit, and he doesn't really need a
He's
whole lot
already
of work.
molded, bro. He's already molded. Is my point. Leave him the
But
fuck alone,
if you got the best middle linebacker of all time that wants to sit down and teach you how to watch film a little bit better or dissect,
dude.
if he can
I
get
think
to
it's
him on the
horseshit.
mental side, it might be
It's
horseshit, but
horseshit.
I think that Ray would do more good than harm because at the end of the day I think Roquan has gotten this far without him,
I'm
and I
not
think he'll be
saying he
fine.
wouldn't. I'm not saying he wouldn't. That's not my point. My point is the fact that he's acting like he needs to put his hands on him, and he keeps saying it. He said it multiple times. It's just like, shut the fuck up, right? And I love him. And when he was on ESPN, he was terrible. It was awkward. It
Yeah,
just, for a guy that was always a great interview, to not make for a great,
it's
sportscaster, it was odd and weird.
the thing is though when you're nothing but uh
He got $6 million from them for free, basically. They just said, all right, Ray, go
yeah,
ahead. They said dip.
but you got to be analytical and objective, and that doesn't mean Ray kissed everybody's ass when he was on ESPN. He didn't have anything bad to say about anybody, and sometimes you got to be that Ryan Clark or that Dan Orlovsky or that Marcus Spears or somebody of that nature where you've got to say what other people are thinking, and it might not be popular.
Yeah.
I'm Before we move on from the Ravens, Josh. We've re-signed Brent Urban and Daryl Worley today, so I'm happy that Brent is back for another year. I've been telling you, for the last couple of days that I think Urban needs to stay, even if
He's
we
solid.
he's
He's solid.
solid, man. He
He
had
don't
a
hurt
good
you.
year. I picked him as our unsung hero,
I
and a
like
lot
him
of
too. He's mouthy. I like that. He gives us a little bit of edge too.
yeah, and the thing is, he's energetic, but he's not like attention draw. So I like the fact that Brent's back for another year. I'm happy to see that he's zeroed in on the 23 season with the team. Um, Daryl Worley came on, very well at the end of the year. I believe that he's going to be a key piece to the secondary. I'm not saying he's going to be a starter by any means, but when with the health issues that we have at cornerback on a year-to-year basis, and Marlon's always getting banged up, we don't know if we're bringing Marcus Peters back or if we're going to have, Pepe or Jalen Armour Davis, or if we're
I
going to give
want Marcus back, but he'd have to be cheap. I think, man, he'd have to be
oh yeah,
real
super
cheap.
cheap.
Yeah,
Or if we
I'm
bring
talking
Kyle
like
Fuller
six,
back for,
7 million.
or if we bring Kyle Fuller back for another, a mulligan year after the ACL tear in week one. I think
Yeah,
Worley's solid depth. He's a veteran, and I do like those two moves. But
yeah.
moving
Hey, before
on,
we move on though, real quick, your brother just sent us a thing. Jason Lockenfora. Hold on, I'm reading it on my watch. Sources are saying that the Falcons are pursuing heavy for Lamar. What you going to give
oh,
us?
wow.
What
The
you
thing
going to
is,
give us?
the thing is,
It's exciting to me.
the
It's like,
thing.
what are we going to get?
Hey,
Throw
the,
Riddle in there.
throw Ritter in there, and
And
they
if
got it.
Ritter, I said Riddle, my bad. And if Ritter
Yeah,
gets in, we gotta give you credit because you predicted
I did. I'm not. I don't want to be cocky, but I did. Now the thing is, I'm willing to take
somebody to
less.
compete with Huntley.
I'm willing to take less in terms of draft picks if they throw AJ Terrell in there too. If AJ Terrell comes in that trade, we don't need Marcus Peters anymore because we got a cheaper option and a younger option and somebody that doesn't have a reconstructed ACL.
Eh,
Even though I love Marcus Peters, I think that he's like the energy that the defense needs. He brings that swag and he brings the meanness to it. And that,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
want him here. I want him to stay. Honestly, I hope they can figure it out. I know he said multiple times he wants to stay, and I know all guys always say that, but it really does seem like he liked it here.
the only thing is I'm taking what Lockett Forrest says with a grain of salt. He has a serious axe to grind against the Ravens, and um, he's obviously biased against them.
Oh,
And
definitely.
you and I listen to him at some point in our travels almost every weekday, so we know what it is with him. And I'll give it to him though, for being a nationally renowned insider and journalist and reporter. The fact that he does a local Baltimore radio show every day without hesitation, I do respect him for that. And the fact that he brings that element, even though he's kind of swayed.
He's getting paid, motherfucker.
Oh, he's getting paid. Obviously, he's
Yeah,
getting paid, but
ain't
he's st-
charity.
he's starting to sway Ken a little bit more in his day to day. But let's move on to the Maryland Terps men's basketball
Yes,
team. The
sir.
the
Big game coming up tomorrow,
the,
Thursday.
the women are ranked in the top 10 as usual. That's pretty much a
Yeah,
common
Brenda
occurrence.
Freeze, she just hit a milestone the other day. It might have been wins or something.
Yeah, she's always solid on the recruiting trail. She's a great coach. The Maryland women's basketball team being ranked is not really a concern of ours. Uh, break down this game tomorrow night, Josh. What is going on with the Maryland Terps?
It's going to be a defensive juggernaut. Look, last time Maryland played Purdue, they especially in the second half, man, they really made Purdue earn it. Maryland matches well against Purdue because Purdue doesn't really have any one big score. They kind of it's balanced. It's very balanced. So Maryland can just they don't have to lock in on anyone and double someone. They can just play aggressive. Nothing crazy. Maryland is very aggressive this year. They play a full court press all game. Purdue's still the number 3 team in the country, and Maryland lost them last time by 2. They almost had it, man. They had this comeback. It was a beautiful thing. But I think the difference in this game, it's one thing. It's Reese. Can Reese rebound and can Reese play high, be a big man down low and get in? I think if Reese can go off, Maryland has a shot. It's also interesting. Maryland has not lost a division home game this year. They're undefeated at home in the Big Ten, which is pretty cool. I don't think it's
I,
ever happened before.
I do want to see us get back to the tournament, and I know
Oh,
the
we're. I think Matt. Honestly, it's just my opinion. I think we're in the tournament now. Now it's just a matter of seeding.
I do because like you always say about any tournament, whether it's the playoffs in the majors or the NFL, all you gotta do is get to the tournament. Once you're in, anything can happen.
Yeah,
That's
anything,
one of your lines. Get to the
anything.
tournament. That's
Yeah.
what you've been talking about. Get to the tournament.
And if Willard can get to a tournament with a team that's not his, you know, this is still Mark Turgeon's team, and he gets his team to a tournament, man, that's just even more good signs with this dude. This
Oh, for
dude can
sure.
coach, man. This dude can adjust. Turgeon could get the guys in here and get the talent, but he just couldn't coach for shit. You haven't
Right.
seen any schools jump on his ass, have you? Makes you wonder,
No,
doesn't it? Yeah.
a little bit. Oh, I wanted to bring something up. Now that we've hit on the Terps a little bit, I
Fear
did
the
see an
turtle.
alert. I did see an alert on my phone that Sean Payton's getting ready to hire Rex Ryan as the defensive
Yeah,
coordinator.
a couple
In
days ago. That's
yeah, well,
hilarious.
well, I saw it pop up that they're finalizing him as as the guy, and he hasn't been on a sideline in what 6 years, 7
Yeah.
years.
And I thought he said he wouldn't come back to be a coordinator. It
I
had
had,
to be a head coach. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he has the type of success rate to where he can dictate that.
No. He had two
But
good years in with the Jets, got an extension, and never, rode
he
with
didn't. He
Sanchez
didn't
a
do.
little too long.
He didn't do terribly in Buffalo either.
No.
I am curious to see that the staff that Peyton puts together, if they can get Rex Ryan out there on that defense, that's going to be a tough defense, man. I'm
Yeah,
always
I'm worried
biased.
about Denver, dude. I think Peyton, if he can get Wilson to buy in and not be a prick, even though Wilson's known for being a prick, it's leaked. Um, that was pretty funny, by the way. Before I'd say that, Sean Payton, when they were asking him about, are you going to be cool with Wilson having his own trainers here? And Sean Payton was like, no, I don't know nothing about that, but it's just going to be our guys in this building. Like, is Wilson going to accept things like that, or is he going to, be an asshole and be bigger
Peyton,
than the team? Or is he going to buy in with Payton? Because I think if he buys in, Denver can be dangerous. And then this team we were laughing at, then all of a sudden don't look too silly. Because their defense is legit, and there's some hard hitting. That Ravens game, bro, they were nailing
I
dudes.
was there.
I
I
was
remember.
worried.
I was there.
I
It
know.
was a
I was
snooze fest
worried.
for 58 and a half minutes, though. And then in the last 90 seconds, Tyler Huntley decided to play hero. And,
Yep, sure did.
you know, I I'm interested to see how this AFC West turns out. Something tells me Aaron Rodgers is going to Las Vegas, and I believe Derek Carr is going to go
It's
somewhere.
looking like that.
And
He
Derek Carr is going
did
to go
he
somewhere
do
in the
his
NFC South.
4 nights in the dark, 4 days in
No,
the
he's
dark
getting
yet?
ready to do that. I think he's starting that tomorrow or something. He was just on the Pat McAfee show talking about it, and I
That's a
true.
weird son of a bitch
Oh,
out
he's
there.
he's definitely out there, man. That's wild shit right there. We got a couple comments coming in, bud. Uh, one of our content creators on Driving to the Top Productions, Melissa said, "What's up? What's going on, Melissa? Thank you for tuning in." And my boy Carlos from work, is Lamar getting traded? That is the $1 million question. If
Probably.
if anything has to, if Jason Lockenfora has any truth behind what he tweeted out, there's a possibility Lamar might be wearing an Atlanta Falcons uniform by the end of the week, or a little bit later if they hammer everything out. But it's looking more and more like it's gonna happen, and we better get a haul. If we don't, this city's gonna go absolutely fucking crazy. Um,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it either way.
yeah, so am I.
Honestly,
I
guys,
want it
I
to
know
be
you
over.
guys want him, but really think about it. Like, just really think about it. Do you trust him with not having a lot of money that he's going to suck it all in? Do you think he can do it? Can he win a Super Bowl? Because he hasn't yet, and he's had some good teams, and he hasn't even. Hold on, it's not like, oh man, he can't get over the last big hump. No, he hasn't even gotten over the first hump. I know he won a playoff game in Tennessee, and then he went off to
That was on
Buffalo and
emotion
choked.
though. That game was emotional because of the year before.
Yeah, it was.
That,
And then he Buffalo, started off good. We're moving the ball. He hit a pass there. We're running the ball up the middle, chewing them up, and then all of a sudden they adjust, jam the middle. He freezes. Like it just and he's also a guy that's leaked multiple times now that gave up on the team. You don't believe it, you don't have to, but it's the proof is there. He did it.
I'm not even going to talk about the playoff record. I'm going to talk about his availability real
Mm-hmm.
quick before we move on to the Orioles. 2019, he missed week 17. They chose to sit him after going 13-2. They started RG3. He also sat 4 separate fourth quarters, which is the equivalent of 2 whole games missed in 19. 2020, he had COVID a couple times and he missed time there. 2021, he hurt his ankle. and then comes back in the playoffs and gets hurt. And then 2022, he hurts his knee. I'm not even going to talk about the playoff record. I'm not going to talk about his inefficiencies anywhere. What does any Ravens fan logically expect the Ravens to do when this guy cannot finish a season? Playing a full 16 or 17 weeks. Plus you're expecting him to be healthy for the playoffs. I'm not going to talk about anything else. The guy misses games. And that's just the hard truth of the matter. He misses football games. There's no other way to spin it. It's not like he's missing a game here or a practice here. He sat out the last 7 weeks of this past season, including
He
the
hadn't
playoffs.
finished the last 3 seasons healthy. I count Buffalo.
Come on, man. I mean, at what point these Ravens fans that want to keep him, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Okay, he's dynamic. He's nothing like we've ever seen before. He's super talented. We all love him. Like he is a likable guy in terms of his portrayal to the media. But the Ravens are running a business. They are not going to make every move based on what the fans think and feel. As a
Steve
businessman,
Bisciotti is not paying them that much guaranteed.
It's not even about the guarantee. They're not going to. They're looking at annual average. Lamar is not touching 50 plus in Baltimore. I'll go on record, and I've said it before. I'll say it again. Lamar will get 50 plus if he's in a Falcons uniform, if he's in a Jets uniform, if he's in a Dolphins uniform, if he's in a Buccaneers uniform. He will get the 50 million plus that he wants annually. It's not going to happen here. They don't do business like that. They don't. They pay who they want to pay. They had Roquan in town for 7 weeks, and they gave him $100 million.
Roquan was the easy transaction, Eric said. Said it took only 30 days.
Right. And that's the thing. He wanted to be here, and they wanted to keep him here. We have shown that we want to keep him. And the thing is, nobody knows, period, 100% what we offered him. There's only rumors and hypotheticals. We could have offered him what the Browns gave Watson, but it might not have been guaranteed.
I'm sure that's the problem. I'm sure that's what it is.
It's got to be the only problem.
Yeah.
And now the thing is, as a Ravens fan and as somebody who's done this show with you for the entire football season, we know what the Ravens offense looked like this year without Lamar. And we also know what it looked like with Lamar. So there is a disconnect. Huntley is not Lamar. We know that. There's a huge drop-off after Lamar Jackson and the rest of the Ravens quarterbacks. But I'm also certain that, on the contrary, there's throws that Huntley made in the last few games of the year and in the playoff game that Lamar has shown that he can't make. So it's like Huntley was showing flashes that he might be able to be the guy. Now,
Watch the film. That's what I tell people. Watch the fucking film. You only got to pay the money for the apps. You can do it on YouTube for free. It's not as good.
Now I'm not.
You got to watch somebody else fuck around with it.
I'll say this, Josh. Do I feel comfortable with Tyler Huntley being QB1 going into the next season unchallenged? Absolutely not. But if you can net a quarterback in a trade for Lamar, or you deal Lamar and you don't get a quarterback and you go get somebody like Derek Carr or Jimmy Garoppolo or somebody of that nature to come in and compete just for 1 year. And then in 2024, you got 2 first-round draft picks. 2025, you got 2 first-round draft picks. Go get one of them in the next couple of years. Extend your window, but get some pieces to help that. Carlos Gray says, "Does any of the games he missed this season was it due to his contract?" No, he missed all of his games based on his
I
injury.
believe so.
But
I believe so. I believe it was a
I believe
minor
the
injury,
contract.
and then it turned into, nah, fuck that. I ain't risking it. NFLPA was like, you're crazy if you go back out on that field with a not 100% knee. Dude was never
And
coming back. Don't matter if we beat Cincinnati in the playoffs, he wasn't coming back. He cleaned out his locker already. The game didn't even start yet. And that's the guy you want to give $300 million to, guys.
so here's the thing, though.
I
You
lost
you
respect for him.
you look at all that, and then you look at the fact that the NFLPA has been in his ear.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. He
I've
needs an
talked to,
agent, dude.
I've talked to two former Ravens in the last month.
I'm talking hundreds of millions of dollars. People go to school to learn how to do this shit.
Bernard Pollard and Ray Rice
Oh,
both
God.
said that if they were Lamar, they wouldn't have stepped on the field this past year.
Yeah, I agree. He
And
probably shouldn't have. I
he
mean, I'm a
and
selfish fan. I wanted him to, but it
right,
was a risk.
but they said it was stupid for him to not go onto the field without an extension in place signed.
Yeah.
And
And people that say, oh, he lost money, why would he do that? No, he got himself insured. He bought insurance. He got paid.
oh, he definitely got paid. And here's the thing that people fail to understand: Lamar chose to come on the field on the 5th-year option and not an extension. He was thinking that they were going to give him what he wanted if he went out there and did what he knew he was capable of. He did that for 5 weeks, and then he
But he
fell.
also said he wouldn't negotiate during the season.
But I'm sure there was a little bit of resentment after those first 5 games where he was lighting the league up, and then they were kind of like not going. And then when they honored his wishes, he probably took it personal because his play fell off. And then we started seeing decent teams. It's so there's so many moving parts to this, and we truly don't even know. So there's really no
He was hot early in the season. We were all joking in our text message saying, damn, they're got to give him $1 billion.
right. Our group chat was like, "Yep, he's going to get 300 million guaranteed." And then his play was like this, and it took a nosedive. And there's no other way to put it. That was a nosedive. I want to see this come to a honest end. It needs to be a resolution, whether it's a trade, an extension. Just get it done, get it over
Guys,
with.
I know you guys love
Please.
him, and I love him too. And part of me wants him to stay, but the other part just is like, ooh, what could we get?
But if
What
he
could we get?
stays, you are literally handcuffing this team financially of
Next
making
7 years.
any other improvements. You're going to have to rely on the salary cap to go up 30 to 40 million every
And you're
year
going to have to
just to.
cut Stanley or Humphreys, one of them two, or Andrews. Somebody's going to have to go.
They're not going to cut Andrews if Lamar stays.
Or Roquan. Somebody will have to go. And no, Roquan will be too much cap penalty, but somebody will have to go.
Yeah. People don't understand that you're going to have to cut off a major piece somewhere. You're going to have to let Stanley walk. You're going to have to let Marlon walk. Those guys
Yep.
right there
Then
make
you're going to have to pay
45 million.
JK.
And then you're going to have to replace them with average to below average replacement players.
Because the problem is we missed our win. He missed the window. That's what I keep saying. 2019 was the shot. The window was wide fucking open. Everything was going our way. We were beating everybody. Nobody could touch us. We were beating good teams, San Francisco. Like, we were going, man. Everything was a first round bye so we could be healthy. You know, we had a team coming in that upset a team the week before. I can't remember who they knocked out, but they weren't supposed to win. Was it New England?
Yeah.
I think it was New England. Like, we should have stomped them. It shouldn't even have been close. Yeah, Henry should have had a few yards. He's fucking Derrick Henry. But it shouldn't even have been close. We got behind and we fucking panicked because we were not behind all season. We controlled the game all season. So now we weren't in this position since probably week 2 or 3 when we got blown out by the fucking Browns, or the Chiefs the week after that. And we fucking panicked. But that was the year, man. When we lost, I was like, fuck. Because I knew we were never going to be that hot again. I knew everything was going our way. And it almost reminded me of the Deflate Gate with the cheating ass Brady, and no, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was that year. But when they were doing the illegal formations confusing us, and the NFL made it illegal immediately after the fucking season ended. It just we had everything started going our way. It just reminded me of that year. Fuck, that was it, and I knew it. I knew it. Even the year we beat Tennessee the following year, knocked them out, and got payback, and that was great. But we didn't have the same momentum. That year was up and down. Lamar was not hot that year. He fell off. He digressed.
I'll
And
say
he hasn't
this.
had a solid full season since 2019.
I'll say this though. If Lamar stays and we give him an extension, he's gonna get Harbaugh fired.
Probably.
Because after this, there's not going to be an excuse. You got his money. It's it's such a loaded situation.
It's risky.
We got a comment from Roosevelt. When will y'all get him some real help? All right, Roosevelt. I'm gonna say it like this. It's help is subjective. Okay, let's just cut to the chase.
He had a
Since we
loaded tight end room. That's where he throws it. The room was loaded.
since we drafted Lamar, we got him one of the best tight ends in football. Now, I know that's not enough. We have constantly surrounded him with a very good to fantastic running game, depending on who you ask. He has always had a relatively decent to above average offensive line. They drafted Hollywood. He wanted Hollywood. They went and got Hollywood. They passed on DK Metcalf for Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
Then 2 years later, they go and they get Rashad Bateman. They go and get Devin Duvernay. They go and get these guys for him. That now have they added, bottom of the barrel aging veterans? Yes. But if we're talking about weapons for Lamar, he's had them at his disposal. Been great? No. Okay, you say Deshaun Jackson, Roosevelt. That's fine, but we knew he wasn't shit when he got here anyway in terms of having a full season of productivity left in the tank. What I'm saying is this is a situation where Lamar Jackson is considered to be elite by a lot of Ravens fans. He needs people around him to be successful. He does make other players successful. If you are an elite quarterback, you can win with anybody. And I know I'm about to say Tom Brady, but Brady won Super Bowls with Deion Branch, Troy Brown, and those type of players at wide receiver. He had a prime Gronk at that time. Then you have guys like Peyton Manning who win a Super Bowl with a loaded offense at wide receiver. But okay, let's look at it this way. Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl this year where Juju Smith-Schuster was his technical number one receiver.
Made Juju look good, too.
He made Juju look fantastic. He made him look fantastic. He had Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who was a recycled receiver from Green Bay. He had
because he makes guys better. He's a different level.
The only wide receiver holdover he had
He's
from
top
his
tier.
previous team was McCole Hardman. That is where it begins and ends. If you want to be an elite quarterback,
Lamar is not on that tier.
But if you want to be an elite quarterback, you have to make your players better around you. You can't expect to just have loaded talent given to you year after year after year. Yeah. You can't do that.
Mahomes had his best receiver taken away, and he just won the fucking Super Bowl. People are like, how's he going to win the Super Bowl without Hill? And da-da-da-da-da. And
Carlos
he's an elite quarterback.
Carlos said his weapon's been injured. That's just bad luck. Okay, I'll give it to you, Carlos. The Ravens' weapons have been hurt a lot. We haven't had the best luck at drafting receivers that are healthy. But the thing is, they made a concerted effort to draft wide receivers for Lamar. That's whether they pan out, that is luck of the draw. We cannot draft a receiver to save our life. If you're asking us to draft a linebacker, an edge setter, or an offensive lineman, we got you. But we can't draft it or a running back. We cannot draft wide receivers if we tried. If we had a draft
It's
pool
sad.
with
It's
if we
crazy.
had a draft
Our bad
pool
luck at the receiver position is
if
almost
we
laughable.
if we had a draft pool with Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, and Calvin Johnson, we would take fucking Ryan Tannehill to play wide receiver.
Yes, we
You know what
would.
I'm saying? Like that's what we would do.
Yeah.
But we got
The Ravens have
we
had so many opportunities to get that.
we got a lot of comments coming in. Chris George, what's up, Chris? Sign card, trade Lamar for 3 first rounders and a third rounder and a fifth. Go get Hopkins or maybe a cap casualty like Michael Thomas. If we go any cap casualty, I would rather see Keenan Allen before Michael Thomas because Michael Thomas has had so many injuries to his foot. You don't really know what you're going to get. And I honestly think that if Michael Thomas does get cut, he's going to head to Denver and go play in Sean Payton's offense where he was the most successful. Um, or I would take a flyer on somebody like Adam Thielen, a veteran possession guy. Um, Roosevelt says, I'm not going to sit here and let y'all compare KC to Baltimore. I'm not comparing them to each other. I'm comparing the situations that their quarterbacks are in. If you look at it on paper, at the start of the year for each of these teams, their wide receiver groups aren't completely far off of each other. They were both young, but the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill away, and Patrick Mahomes had his best year since. He didn't have to throw the ball to Tyreek Hill 15 times a game. So that's where I'm at with that. I'm not comparing one to the other. I'm just saying good quarterbacks make players better around them.
Travis Kelce, by the way, is the best tight end I've ever seen in my life. I know Gronkowski was good, but Kelce is the best tight end I've ever seen in my life. By far. It's not even close.
He's great, man.
Dude.
My buddy Carl from work. How do you feel about the OC they picked up? We touched on that a little bit in the beginning of the show, Carl. I know you were just joining us. Thank you though for the comment.
We're optimistic.
Josh is optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic. I believe that he's going to make the passing offense a little bit more intricate and up to speed with where the game is now, as opposed to Greg Roman running 3 curl routes within 7 yards of each other. That's where I'm at with that. I'm going to reserve my judgment for when I see his offense in the regular season after a couple times, because he's been in Georgia the last couple years. He's had success, obviously. Georgia won, I think back-to-back national championships. So yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it. I wanted us to go with the younger guy, but part of the move was job security on the part of John Harbaugh. He's not going to bring in an offensive coordinator that could potentially replace him if things go south on any other facet of the team. This was a typical Harbaugh hire, and I'm just glad it wasn't one of his buddies. That's pretty much where I'm at with that.
Yeah.
Roosevelt said,
I haven't seen no connection. I haven't seen any connection. Usually it's like, oh, John and this guy worked together in Cincinnati, 25 years ago, or, one of his buds.
Right. Roosevelt says, I'll give you that on paper, but the coaching is the difference. I mean, when you start getting into the coaching, I mean, yeah, you got to look at the fact that Andy Reid Andy Reid's in a class of his own. The guy has won.
Terry Bradshaw, shame on you, though. That motherfucker was picking on Andy. That was awkward, bro.
Fuck him. Terry Bradshaw, he's senile anyway.
He just won a Super Bowl and you treated him like that.
But the thing is, I don't think Andy Reid cares, because Andy Reid has 2 Super Bowls in the last 4 years. That's where that begins and ends. Andy is a hell of a head coach. He took the Eagles to the Super Bowl
with McNabb.
With Donovan fucking McNabb.
He was good for a long time with Donovan McNabb.
He was. And Donovan McNabb is an average quarterback.
Yes,
for that time that he was in.
Most certainly.
Carl says, who do you see in the Super Bowl next year? Does KC repeat? I didn't see KC going to the Super Bowl this year. I thought it was going to be somebody else. I honestly thought it was going to be us. Full disclosure, I'm always going to pick us to go. Kansas City can go back. The thing is, now with them having that target on their back, after their last Super Bowl victory, they had a severe hangover and didn't play as well. It all depends on who they can keep in free agency. Uh, it all really depends on
Matt,
a lot of different things.
Matt,
Yeah.
are the Kansas City Chiefs a dynasty?
Yes. I think they're one more Super Bowl away from being a legitimate dynasty. But the 5 straight AFC championships, the 4, I think it's like 3 or 4 Super Bowl appearances in the last 4 years. They might be a modern dynasty. I don't think they're ever going to be like the Patriots of the 2000s dynasty, but that would require
I
Mahomes to win a couple more Super Bowls. But he
I
is.
think he's going to get at least 2 more. I think he's going to end up with like 4.
Yeah. Even though I'm a diehard Ravens fan, I think Mahomes retires with 5 Super Bowls before it's all said and done. And he might be the first quarterback to win 5 Super Bowls and 5 Super Bowl MVPs. That dude is tough. I have nothing but good things to say about that man. That
He's
man is
accurate. His accuracy is like it's almost like
he's a fucking competitor.
magic. It's magic, man. The ball is just on the dot. It has to be at the perfect time.
When he gets in that zone on the field,
Perfect
it's
angles.
incredible.
It's incredible. The perfect angles, like his balls just drop right in, like right over the defender. It's just insane. I've never seen anything like it.
Roosevelt said, "What did Terry do?" Terry told Andy to waddle on over here and was making fun of him for being fat.
And then after the interview, went, "All right, Andy, go have yourself a big old cheeseburger."
Well, Andy Reid always talks about cheeseburgers anyway, so.
Dude, it was ignorant. As a big man, I would have been offended. I'd have stepped on his fucking foot.
He said McNabb was good. He was good. I'm not gonna say he was great.
Oh no,
he
was all right.
The real McNabb was shown after he got away from Andy Reid anyway. He wanted to get away from Andy Reid so bad, and he ended up looking like shit in the other stops that he had. And he was great when we had. Well, yeah, everybody can look good when you have Terrell Owens as your number 1 wide receiver. That dude made Jeff Garcia look like a fucking monster, and Jeff Garcia sucked.
Yes, he did.
The Eagles had Freddie Mitchell and Todd Pinkston, great tight ends and RBs. Yeah, I mean they had a solid offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean we got a little sidetracked, man. That was,
Dude, we were only supposed to be on for like 20, 30 minutes. We were at almost an hour.
Hey, it's cool, man. This is we're not going to talk about the Eagles on here. No, we're not. We're done talking about the goddamn Eagles. Leave me alone, Roosevelt. We're not talking about the Eagles. So now let's get to what we were going to get to 20 minutes ago before we went on this tangent. we had a flurry of comments. The Orioles reported today for pitchers and catchers.
That's exciting. I can't wait for baseball to start.
I can't wait. I think spring training starts next week, I believe. I'm just excited to see these boys in action. Waiting for Adam to have his breakout MVP year. Gunner. Hopefully we see Cowser in the big leagues this year. Maybe we can trade Austin Hayes for a decent pitcher.
I just hope we can keep that same momentum from last year to keep it exciting, because this town needed that last year. That was such a breath of fresh air. The Orioles, we were in it to the last game, man. I just want it to be like that, just to keep showing that progress is being made. I just hope it's like that. I really do. That was fun. That made baseball fun again.
It did. Carl says, where do y'all see the Orioles finishing this year? honest opinion, not being a fan. Okay, he wants an
Second.
objective opinion. I
Second.
think we're gonna have a hard time competing with the New York Yankees. Carl is a New York Yankees fan.
Of
It's
course.
gonna be it's gonna. Well, I mean, he's from there, so I'll
Oh,
get
all
you
right,
know.
all right,
Yeah,
all right. That's good.
he's New York
Nothing's
everything.
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
It's people that ain't from there.
yeah, he's New York everything.
That's
I'll
good.
give him that. He's Giants, Yankees, and I believe he's a
That's
Knicks
fair.
fan. So
That's fair.
yeah, yeah, I believe we're gonna finish second in the AL East this year. I think we can overcome the Red Sox. They just lost one of their starting pitchers. I really wanted us to see uh, Michael Waka in a Orioles uniform, but he signed with the San Diego Padres today for 4 years, 24 million, which we could have kicked that out. It's only 6 million a season, but he's going to have a chance to compete for a World Series ring out there in San Diego. I do think that our biggest issue is going to be maintaining the level of play from the bullpen and the rotation.
Yeah. It's a big gamble
I
we're
believe we
going with,
lost.
man. We're seeing if lightning
I
can
believe
strike
we
in a bottle
lost.
again.
I believe Jordan Lyles isn't coming back, if I'm mistaken.
I think that's true.
And we signed Kyle Gibson.
Yeah.
And Gibson is an innings eater, so I'll be anticipating that. I'm excited to see Grayson Rodriguez up. Can't wait to see G Rod healthy and pitching in Cannon. Means he should be back by May or June.
Yeah, they said around June.
So I think he might be one of those guys that gets a couple starts and they might dangle him out there for a trade unless he looks good, and then he can kind of be the workhorse on the back end of the rotation
What I'm
heading
curious
down.
to see is if we get to the All-Star break and we're in it. Let's just say we're in it either for the division, which I'd be shocked, or just a wild card. Say we're in it for. I think saying in there for the division may be a stretch at this point, but say we're in it at the wild card. If we're close, right in the thick of it, it looks like we're rolling. What are we going to make a move to try to get to the next level? You start getting over the hump and then really kick it into high gear, next off season, or are we still 2 years away from that? Mike
Um,
Elias, you should have never said what you said, man. You got me so damn excited.
he got all of
Lift
his.
off from here. Well,
He got all of us excited. And I think that was just the emotions of him coming off of a year where we had a winning record, and a lot of people thought that this was going to kind of accelerate the rebuild. I truly believe 2024 is the year where we really start seeing free agents come in next year. We got to build off of this past year. If we finish 500 or above again and we sniff the playoffs or make the playoffs, I think we need to, in order to attract some teams to come, some players to come here to play for this team, you got to win around 90 games. That's a tall ask because we won 83 this year, but I think you got to win on 88 to 90 games to really get the attention of some free agents to come here. Just so you can add to what, and we need more pitching free agents than we do hitters. Now, can you upgrade first base? Yeah, let Mountcastle slide into a DH role. That's fine. You might want to find not necessarily a second baseman, but you might want to find a power hitter that can play in the infield. Jackson Holiday should be up by 25, maybe 20, the end of 24. So he's going to take over
yeah, I'm
shortstop.
curious. I want to see what kind of, because he's going to, last year they had him in all these, them different leagues. I forget what they're called.
He was in the
Because they
Gulf Coast
drafted.
League. He was in the He was in the rookie league. Then he was in the Gulf Coast League, and then I think he went up to Del Marva to end the year. I really want to see what this team is going to look like in the next couple of years. But Carl, I will round it off by saying I don't expect us to win 115 ball games like your team did last year, but we're going to be competitive, and I do think that we're going to make no again this year. Adley and Gunner are going
We're
to be up
coming.
from. Yeah, we're
We're
coming.
coming. We're
Adley
getting
and
there.
Gunner are going to be up there from jump. Hopefully we get a good
Adley is
year.
already a legend in this town, bro. He is
It's
loved, man.
crazy. They love him.
Everybody loves Adley.
and then we'll see what the Ravens. I mean, not the Ravens. We'll see what the Orioles do with the outfield. You know,
Yeah.
Cedric Mullins. He's a 15-15 guy.
I
Hopefully,
got a feeling he's going to go. I just got a funny feeling he's going to go off this year and have another big year.
I hope he does. I
I
mean,
think he had a decent year last year. I think he was kind of still in like maybe it's like almost like he was never the same as the year before. I
oh
never
no, no,
expect
no.
him
I
to get
mean,
back to that level, but I just got a feeling
I
he's going to
wasn't
have a
expecting him to hit
solid year.
300 with 30 home runs that year. So
No,
no,
but I just got a feeling he's going to have a solid year. And the other big question mark for me, I want to see how they're going to play Adley. Are they going to put him at first a lot?
I don't think they're necessarily going to put him at
What's
first, but
that mean for Mountcastle?
I think they're going to DH him a little bit more often. And the only reason I believe that
Well,
is
they said
because,
they trained him at first, though. They started that last year.
yeah, I mean, they might throw him there on like a random day game or here or there, on the heels of a night game. But they signed James and McCann to play catcher as well, and he's not good enough to start over Adley, obviously, but he's good. They're going to want his bat in the lineup. He can provide pop off the bench, and
Good.
if he,
Save Adley's knees. Save his
yeah,
knees.
well, I mean, it eventually happens to every catcher. Nobody plays catcher from start to finish anymore. Joe Mauer
No,
didn't do it. Wieters didn't do it. Posada might have done it, but I don't remember. I
it's
mean,
just
I think
horrible on your knees.
it is, and they don't let them use knee savers in the big leagues, I believe. So
Isn't that great?
so that's where I'm at with that. That'll wrap up our show. We have been on for over an hour, and join us again on Friday night.
Friday night.
We're going to be previewing the Elimination Chamber pay per view on Saturday. We're going to probably talk a little bit more Ravens. There might be more Lamar news. Join us for that. And go ahead and sign us off, buddy.
All right, Ravens fans. I know we ain't world champions, but fuck them. And we'll be back next year. And everybody watch the Terps, man. Matt doesn't really. He's not really into the Terps. It hurts me. So support the Terps. The Xfinity Center is going to be rocking tomorrow. I'm telling you, it's going to be crazy. Loud. We ain't lost a game at home yet in the division. And check them out. I think it's on the Big Ten Network. Shut it down.